Hello and welcome back to Flourish with Felicity. Today I'm actually going to be doing a podcast alone. I figured I would talk to you guys a little bit more about myself, kind of who I am, what am driven towards in life, and all of the other fun stuff, and how I keep up the motivation that I have. You can ask probably anybody in my family. My mom is probably even listening to this, but my family knows I've had this drive in life and this drive inside of me for so long now. And it's probably been here since high school. But I've always had this passion to learn and grow. And that's kind of why I wanted to start the podcast series as well, just to learn from others and teach you guys what I learn as well, and to be able to explore and expand the information that I have in my head, and hopefully yours as well, with also getting you out of a complacent state if you are in one, or give you some hope for the future, because there's some really amazing people out there that have gone through some really crazy things, and being able to speak to these people and learn their stories and learn their lessons is beautiful. But I kind of want to talk to you about my own, because I haven't really introduced myself much to the podcast. Obviously, I figured over time you guys would learn about me, and I know you will for sure, but I'd rather go into a full on discussion about kind of like my vision. Plus, you guys can hold me accountable or reach out to me and tell me your vision as well, and I can hold you accountable, and we can do this together, because we all have a vision in life. And if you don't, we definitely need to create one, because I always say this, but if you don't have a vision, the ultimate vision for you is death. And that's it. That's the end of it. If you don't have an actual vision somewhere where you want to go in life, there is not, like, you're not going to be able to get anywhere, because you don't know where you're going. It's like shooting in the dark. And we need a vision for our future, and to be able to produce and be able to work towards a goal in life. Because ultimately it's just death. And who wants that? We want to live. You got one life, right? But let's kind of dive in. So I have some questions up on the screen. I asked ChatGPT. If you guys don't use ChatGPT, I highly recommend it. I love it. But I just asked it to ask me some questions. And so I have a few questions here that I'm just going to go through and kind of touch upon and give you my insight on, and tell you a little bit about myself as we go along. So let's talk about vision first. So, how I kind of discovered my vision in life is seeing images of where I want to be. Growing up, I always knew that I wanted to. So, I had a goal of buying my dad a Porsche. His favorite car is a Porsche. He's never owned a Porsche. And I want to take him to a Porsche dealership. And I want to just tell him, free reign, go customize your own Porsche, colors, interior, exterior, and I'm gonna get it for you. And I've always looked up to him in an entrepreneurial sense, because he's owned his own business and he's come from nothing and has made a network of so many people through so, like, unbelievable people. And I've been in the craziest houses almost in Connecticut. And he did this all just by having a passion for what he does. And it's truly remarkable. I see him bigger than he sees himself. And I want to be able to say thank you for being such a huge factor in my entrepreneurial journey, and be able to do that for him. I've always looked up to my dad in a sense of work. He has this work ethic and work drive that is unmatched to anybody. And I find that I have very much the same. And even my family and my friends, they think I work too hard. Weekends, I won't take off, just because I love to work, and I love the idea of growth and becoming something more than myself, and being able to flourish. That's why I named it Flourish with Felicity, because I want to learn and grow from other people and teach you guys the lessons along the way. But my vision started there, and then obviously as time grew on, I started to have some more visions for myself, in a sense of where I personally want to get to, where I want to be, what I want to do. And I would say another big factor is traveling. So, traveling, as we all know, is pretty expensive, but I want to travel the world. I grew up, my neighbor and best friend is Indian, and I fell in love with the Indian culture, and I've always wanted to go and see the Taj Mahal and go to India. I've yet to do so still. And then I found, like, I just love the culture. I loved everything about it. I wanted to experience Holi. I wanted to go and just travel around and see Asia in general. So I fell in love with culture and different people and how people live and grow and how people even work in other countries. It's so interesting to me. That's another thing of my like learning love, I guess. So it went from my dad like wanting to be able to get my dad a Porsche to then wanting to travel the world, and then I saw the luxuries of the world, and that became a shiny object for me, and I want to go and get that now. And I feel like over time, obviously, my vision has grown and become bigger and bigger, but that's the beauty of visions, is that it can change and you can adapt, and it gets bigger and bigger. And I have this goal. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there one way or another. But that's honestly, I want to be able to do that. I found this about a year and a half ago. Iman Gaji, he is like a 24-year-old kid who's a multi-millionaire, living this crazy luxurious life, like owning a, I think he just got his first plane, and he did it all for his mom, and it was just it's a beautiful story. And I fell in love with his story and how he got to where he is. And so I found out about him, and I actually joined one of his courses, which was really crazy. And I met some pretty awesome people that had crazy drives in life. And the amount of stuff I learned from that course and from the people that I met was pretty remarkable, to say the least. So that kind of kicked off like me getting to where I am now. So Iman Gaji course, I was also working as a full-time personal trainer at a big box gym. And I ended up quitting that job with no job, no income. And I went and started this course, and I started my own marketing and advertising agencies. It was Mave Advertise. And so I did that. It didn't really take off. I ran a few Facebook ads for different businesses, and I actually kind of crushed it. Little pat on my back for that. Even though I didn't get any money for it, it was just really fun. And it was definitely a learning experience. I did a lot of cold calls, but again, it was a learning experience. I didn't have a job. I was getting more and more in debt. I had a $500 a month car payment. I had a $500 a month software that I was utilizing and trying to white label. So there was a lot to it. And then I actually came across so I actually went to Coaching Con in Arizona. It was the first time I went to Arizona, took a big leap of faith there. And I went to this thing called Coaching Con. And it's hosted by NCI, which is the Nutritional Coaching Institute. And they essentially coach coaches. And I went because Alex Hermosi, Layla Hermosi, Tom Bayou, oh my gosh, Brad Lee was there, DLB, so Dana Lynn Bailey and Rob Bailey were going to be there, and a bunch of other people, but all of my idols. It was like the place where all of my idols were going to be, and it was $500 to go. And I was like, I'm doing it. Even though I had no money, I made it work and I figured it out. So I went to Arizona. Unbelievable trip, and I learned so much. It opened my eyes to a whole new world, and it drove and sparked my personal training love again, because I want to help others, and I want to be able to help others live their dream life. And I've always wanted to own my own business, and I want to help others, and that two together works together. So with that being said, I came back home and I was like, marketing, advertising, great, but I'm not getting anywhere with it. It's been 3 months. I've been working my booty cheeks off and nothing's really come about of it. I've not made a lick of money, and I need to change something now. Fast forward like a week or two, and I got reached out to my current boss, Mike Krausen. And we hopped on a call, and I was like, dude, I just signed up for NCI. I got no money in the bank. Like there's no like I will not be able to afford anything right now. I love like the fact that you're even trying to get me on the phone. I love what you're doing, but nada. He's like, let's just hop on the phone anyways. And we hopped on the phone and I actually got a job. So he offered me a job right on the spot. He was like, so you're good at GHL and you have marketing and advertising information or knowledge, and you also are a trainer. And he goes, you want a job? I was like, I was not expecting that. And there was a tug of war inside me, to be completely honest with you. There was a huge tug of war inside of me. I'm like, do I give up my entrepreneurial freedom for this? And I did. And here's why, and why, if you are in a position like that, if an opportunity like that comes about, you have to take it. So the reason being is because any opportunity is a learning experience. And the amount of information I have learned from Mike and Baker and now Paula and Stefan and everybody and Mateo, everyone that I've worked with, the people that I've worked with, not only the connections I've made, the people that I made. Oh my gosh, you wouldn't even like it's incredible. I'm gonna get off track if I go down that route. Will cover this though. But the people that you meet in any opportunity, always stay open for opportunities. Here's a lesson from me: is you always have to be ready for an opportunity to come, no matter what it is. And these opportunities will come in your life, and if you're not ready for it, they will pass and you will lose that opportunity. So always prepare yourself for anything that's about to happen. Over prepare for things, get ready, prep yourself before something even happens. Act like it's going to happen because you never know if it will. All right, back to the story. So I officially say yes. Obviously, I said my current boss, so I kind of spoiled it. But I say yes, and here I am almost a year later working for AR. Unbelievable company, let me tell you. We help scale online and in-person coaching businesses to 10, 20 plus K. We have some coaches on the platform that are making 100K a month. It's incredible. And so this is where I was talking about earlier and I stopped myself. It was a crazy full circle to me when I found out that AR, which is the company that I work for, AR Funnel, we work with the highest coaches in NCI. I remember going to the Coaching Con event and looking at the stage and looking at the 5 trainers that went up and thinking to myself, like, that is going to be me one day. I am going to be on that stage talking to people about how I got to where I am and how I feel about where I am, and like teaching others how to get there too. And being able to step up on stage and have the respect of 1,000 people in the audience, 1,000 plus people in an audience, listen to me. That is insane. And that was at Coaching Con. That was before I even met Mike. And here I am now talking to, quite frequently, those people that were standing up on that stage. Oh my goodness. And I'm helping run the back ends of their business. So freaking cool. So I'm telling you, unicorn opportunities, that's actually what one of the coaches call it. It's unicorn opportunities, but these opportunities will come to you and you just have to keep your eye on your vision. wrapping it up. Like, you have to keep your eye on that prize, the thing that's driving you, because if you keep going, it's going to be hard. You're going to keep looking in the future, and it's going to feel like both of your legs are numb and you're crawling with your arms some days. Other days you're sprinting and running and you have the most energy in your life. And no matter what, you have to keep going and keep chugging along, no matter how hard that journey is, because those opportunities will come, and everything is about that journey and not about the final destination. And yes, the final destination is the goal, of course. But what's going to be that after you reach that? You know what I mean? So keep that vision in the forefront of your mind while you're working, or in the back of your mind while you're working day in and day out, when you're staying up those extra hours, when you're pushing through the hard things, when life feels like it's absolutely crumbling. Those are the days that matter the most. Just keep going. Anyways, cycling through, back to the story. I have now also, as you know, I have my own coaching business as well, through AR too. So I'm learning how to scale my own coaching business while coaching other coaches. And it's just a really fun circle through. And this is kind of like a little note to myself too. In about 2 weeks, I'm actually going to be flying to Orlando for Coaching Con once again. And this Coaching Con event is going to be the event at which I get to meet the AR team at. Talk about full circle. That's pretty cool. Last year I didn't see them there, but this year I'm gonna be there with them. So, and we're all sharing a house too, which is really cool. And I can't wait to meet everyone. So it's gonna be a blast for sure. Can't wait. All right, so kind of continuing on. That was a long-winded story of my own for the past year and a half. Can't believe that's been a year and a half, but only a year and a half. But let's continue on. All right, I like this question of how do you ensure your daily actions and decisions are aligned with your broader mission? Because a lot of us can do things day in and day out, and it gets very monotonous. And we feel like after we do it for months on end, we should be somewhere, even though it feels like we're nowhere and we haven't made any progress. That is the entrepreneurial journey for you. Welcome. Welcome to the entrepreneurship journey. It is a blast. But it's literally like a little hamster wheel that you just keep running and running and running and running, and you're like, am I getting anywhere? But you are. So the way that you can make sure that your daily actions and things are aligned to your like bigger vision, mission in life is the way that I like to look at it. And I was actually telling Anthony about this earlier this morning, because he also feels the sense of like loss. You feel lost a lot in this journey, but that's okay. We all do. That's the part of the journey. You'll learn to come to par with it. But the best thing that you can possibly do is have a goal. So I have like my big broad goal. I know what that is. That's going to be me being able to travel the world, having real estate in different countries, having the freedom, the time freedom, the money freedom, and also having a sense of authority and influence over people to help change their lives for the better. That's my big picture goal. Then the way that you can kind of break it up is like, where do I want to be in 5 years? Always having like a 10-year goal is good too, but the best way to do it, if 10 years just seems forever in a day, do 5 years. 5 years is fine. So go 5 years. So I am currently 23. When I'm 28, that's a crazy even vision to think about, right? When I am 28, I want to own at least 5 properties around the world, making at least $30K a month. In 5 years, $30K a month. That's a pretty good goal. And then I want to have been able to travel to at least 10 countries in Europe. What you're going to do, you're going to write this down. Let's actually do this exercise together. Write it on here. So travel to Europe in 10 countries. I want to also travel to Asia, to let's say 10 countries there too. And then I also want to travel to Africa and travel to like 10 countries there. That's a lot of countries. And you should be afraid of this goal, by the way. You need to have a goal in 5 years that you're low-key afraid of, because if you don't, then your goal isn't big enough. So be afraid of your goal. Be afraid of it. I'm not going to even say 30K a month. I want to make that 100K a month. I know that's doable. So let's actually, because I said that, let's make it 150K a month. Sound good? Sound good. You need to be a little bit afraid. 150K a month. That's a lot of money. That's a little scary. So we're going to leave it as that. And traveling that much as well, that's a little scary to myself too, especially considering in the next 5 years I need to hit those, or I should be hitting those. So it's like, but remember, progress is never linear. It's going to be flat, 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 and then it's going to be an exponential curve up, and then you'll be able to do the things that you're going to hit the goals that you want to hit. And then I also said own 5 real estate around the world. All right, so I want you to write your goals down. These are not my official ones. I would also pause this video or pause this podcast. If you're driving, don't pause or pull over first before you write anything down. But start to think about it. You definitely want to think about these and really paint a good 5-year goal. And then what you're going to do is you're going to break it down. And you're going to break it down for years. And remember, once again, progress is not linear. So you have to break it down into the biggest jump is going to be between the 4th and 5th year. And then the 3rd and 4th year is going to be a little bit less, but still a pretty significant jump. 2 and 3. Between year 1 and year 2, that's going to be the smallest jump. And then it's just going to get bigger and bigger. So then you have to break it down. And it's all right, so let's say 10 real estate, because I think I can do 10 different pieces of real estate around the world, right? So then if I were to break it down, I'm not going to break down all of my goals, but just to give you guys an idea of how you're going to do this. So you're going to have your 10 real estate goals, or whatever goal you have. And then between year 4 and 5, I'm going to have 3, which is a lot, purchase. And then between year 3 and 4, we'll actually do 4 purchase in year 5, 4 to 5. And then between 3 and 4, you have 2, that's already 6. I might have to make that 3 or 5. We'll make the first one 5. I think you could do 5, 2, 1, 1. This is between 3, 4. This is 3, 2, 1. So we'll do this 3, 2. Perfect. All right, so first year, I'm going to purchase 1. Or if you don't, you might have to purchase 6 the 5th year. It all depends on where you're at too. But just remember that your goals are never linear. You just have to break it down. Actually, yeah. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. Actually, it would be 1 and 0. Yeah, so maybe the first year you don't purchase any. And the second year you purchase 1. And the 3rd year you purchase 2. And then the 4th year you purchase 3. And then the 5th year you purchase the other 5. And bam. There you go. There's your 10 pieces of real estate. And you have to kind of break it down. Obviously, it's not going to be exact, but it gives you a good guidance. And you're like, all right, well, those are still pretty big goals. Then what? You break those down into quarterly goals. You break your first and second year down into quarterly goals. So there's 4 goals per year. What are you going to do to purchase that first piece of real estate? You're going to probably start to save up, right? Or you're going to start to invest to make your money make you more money. Whatever strategy you need to do to get to that goal, you're going to then start implementing it. And then you're going to break down those quarterly goals into monthly goals for the first year. And every time you move along, every year you reset and you redo. So you look at those goals, you assess where you are, and then you make tweaks and critiques. All right. So if I want to reach this 5-year goal, what do I need to do now to tweak? And if you're ahead, you're ahead. But if you're behind, you need to step up your game and figure out a different method because the one that you're using is not working. And that is how you create goals and a vision and take actionable steps towards that vision to make sure that you hit the goals that you want to. period. There's also one more thing that I forgot is that you have to break those monthly goals into weekly goals for the first 3 months and then daily goals as well. So you know what you need to do on the day-to-day to make sure that you are going to reach those 5-year goals. As of right now, 5 years feels like forever, but in the grand scheme of things, 5 years is nothing. It's very minuscule. So make sure that you are giving yourself grace too with these as well. You might want to even set 2 different types of goals. Some that are just super unrealistic. Like when I say unrealistic, obviously you're not going to become, if you're 40 years old, you're not going to become a 30-year-old NBA player. That's unrealistic. But things that, when I say unrealistic, stuff that you deem as unrealistic that seems so far ahead of you that it's unbelievable to reach. For example, a monetary unrealistic goal is being more wealthy than Elon Musk. That's kind of crazy. But something like making 150K a month or something that seems absurd to you that could be tangible, that could be possible, because P.S. it is possible, but could be possible, that's something that you want to do. Something that makes you afraid, that makes you go, ooh, that's a big number. But you can do it. Don't ever give up on yourself. That's the most important thing. Some people's stories take longer than others. I actually kind of want to bring this in because we were kind of talking about this in church on Sunday. And this patch, I have been going to church for the past 6 or 7 weeks now. And let me tell you, it is so nice. My pastor is incredible. I go to Elevate Life Church with Pastor Jay, and he is incredible leadership. I actually want to have him on the podcast because he is brilliant, and the way he speaks and the conviction at how he speaks is beyond surreal. But he was talking about radical faith. And he said the first quote that went on the screen, it was I knew when going to the service, I knew that this was going to be a service that spoke directly to me for exactly what I wanted or what I needed. I had a feeling of it. I was like, this is going to be a message that I need to listen to. And the first quote that popped up on the screen, I was like, my gut was right. I knew it. But the first quote was, life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of our response, attitude, and reaction to it. Let me read that one more time. Life percent of what happens to us and 90% of our response, attitude, and reaction to it. This quote is so important to keep in your life because it is not only 100% true, but when things don't go your way or something's happening and you feel like your world is crashing down, like in the entrepreneurial journey, that's going to happen a lot. If you respond in a bad way, what good is going to come from that? If you act bad, there is no good that's ever going to come from anything you act upon. But if you act good and you act in a way of love and of faith and of knowing who you are, the world will show you all the opportunities that you will have. And Pastor Jay was talking about it, and it kind of relates back to one of the stories he was telling. I know it's kind of getting a little confusing, but or a little bit wishy-washy, but in how I'm speaking about this stuff. But he had another service where he was talking about, we always love to buy ourselves a pass to this attraction called Worry World. And it's a theme park called Worry World. And every year we buy ourselves an annual pass to this place called Worry World. And there's nothing that good that comes from worrying. And we have to have courage over worrying for anything, because when we worry, you're at a standstill. But if you have courage to move forward, you'll be able to keep treading the path towards your vision or towards whatever goal you have. And we have to stop buying ourselves this annual fast to worry world and understand that we have to have this courage, this faith in what we want to do, because that is going to ultimately lead to our vision and to us achieving what we want to achieve in the future. Hopefully that made sense, because the message of it, obviously I'm not Pastor Jay. I don't speak like him yet. But the way he explained it was unmatched to anything that I can ever even regurgitate by any means. But a few notes as well that I want to bring up that I learned from church, which I thought was really cool. I have this little notebook full of little notes. Is we are so fed up in the right now moment that we forget what is going to happen in 30 years from now. And that's why setting our vision and setting our goals in the future are so important, because if we don't have those goals, again, ultimately, it's death. And we also have to never give up on those goals as well. Yes, you use 30 years, but 5, 10, 15, 20 years. If you don't constantly have future goals, what direction? You have no direction in life. And you have to never give up towards those goals as well. Another thing that he talked about, and it kind of goes with courage and like how our reactions are in life, is we have to. So when things are not going your way, right? Going sounds like a bouncy ball. Boing. But when things are just seems like they do not go your way, you have to think to yourself, what is this situation trying to teach me? Because anything that's negative, if we take a second and we breathe and we allow ourselves to sit in the moment, you're going to realize that there is a lesson that you need to learn to get out of the situation that you're in. Any situation in your past, if you think back to when you got in trouble, every time you get in trouble, you learn something from it, right? Or when something's not going your way, or when you have a situation in life, like think back to any situation where you just felt like the world was going to crash. And then think to when that situation wasn't happening and you were all good again. There was a lesson that you learned in between. So anytime, that's just proof. I'm just showing you proof in your own situations without me telling you your situations, because I don't know what you guys are going through. But in any situation that you're in, there's a lesson to be learned. Financially, friendships, family, anything of the sort. And when you are able to learn that lesson, you're going to get out of that situation. So look for the lesson in the situations that you're in. Another thing he talked about is that kind of goes with lessons. When the world feels like it's crashing upon you and you feel like there's no hope, because we all go through those periods of time, there's of course hope, as you know. Things will get better with time. But any situation at which it's really hard, you have to make sure that you constantly choose to fight, or you will not win. Because if you don't fight, you're never going to win. You're always going to lose. So with that being said, for all the people that are hard hitters out there that want to just keep going and going and going, good. Keep going. This probably resonates with you. You probably listen to this and you're like, yeah, let's go. We must choose to fight, or you will not win. Such a great quote, because we rarely choose the giants in life. Our giants choose us. If we were to choose which obstacles we were going to hit throughout life, we would make our lives so damn easy. But that's not the case. Every time you become better, there's a bigger giant to fight. It's just like a video game. Every time you get better and you rank up, there's more bigger bosses and giants and monsters to fight. That's how life is. It's just a video game in a sense of, all right, you're a baby, you're a beginner, level 1, let's go. Then life happens, level 2, level 3. And as you keep going up the chain and you keep getting better, those boss fights are going to be harder and harder. And sometimes we don't learn the lesson and we have to go and fight that boss again. And so that's the importance of why we have to learn the lessons in life through all of these hardships or these giants that come our way. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, so those are a few things that's kind of all I wanted to go over what I had from church last week. Very impressed with the service that I heard. And I love going to church. Church, if you don't go to church, find a church that you like. The church that I go to is so rad. My pastor wears jeans and like a flannel every single time with a t-shirt underneath and a backwards cap. Like he's sick. And he's from Texas. So he's a little redneck, which is great. And I adore Pastor Jay. And we have like a concert every time we walk into church on Sunday morning. And every time we walk into church, even if you don't like the whole I understand some people think, oh, we got a thumbs up. Like church is for God, and yes, it is, but it's also for the community of these incredible people that are in a place where they just want to become the best versions of themselves and they want to grow in their faith. And no matter where you're at in your journey in faith, you should start going to mass, even if it's online. If you don't want to go into a church and you just want to play around and kind of see what's out there, I challenge you to go and watch Elevate Life. Let's plug in my own church because they're freaking awesome people. But watch the mass online and just see the community of people and listen to what they have to say, because there's so many wise words in the Bible, and you could learn so much about life from the Bible. That's kind of what drove me to church, and now I'm starting to love it even more. Try not to preach, but it's just it has been life-changing, and it's only been 7 weeks. Honestly, all in all, if you just want to grow as a person and you want to open your heart more and become more open-minded, go to a church. And you're going to find a community of people that just are all loving individuals. Obviously, depending on the church that you go to, but test them out and go to ones that are all loving. So, I mean, we're getting up. You probably are very tired of listening to me talk at this point. But I hope that you learned something from this episode and we're able to take something and be able to utilize it and grow with it. I know we dived into vision and mission and being able to just look at life in a different way. I feel like there was something else I had to say, but I completely forgot. But guys, get your vision written down and written out. Write it down, clarify it, literally close your eyes and envision yourself in the midst of what your vision would look like, and then write that down. You know that there is a higher purpose for you. There is a bigger purpose that you just don't even know about yet. And so your goal in life is to uncover that purpose and be able to live life to the absolute fullest. So go and do so. If you like this episode, please go on ahead and give Flourish with Felicity 5 stars on Spotify or wherever you're listening to. I would love to see that number go up. I already have like 3 or 4 people thus far. So let's keep ranking Flourish with Felicity up. I cannot wait for the coming episodes. There's some really, really cool people coming on from different faces of entrepreneurship. That's all I'm gonna give you. So I'm super excited to have them on and be able to speak with the individuals that I have planned. With that being said, I will see you next week. Keep on flourishing, and I'll see you soon. Bye.